located directly behind me. If you wish to speak, please write your name and address on speaker forms, these green forms here, located on the table by the front door. I would like to inform everyone that the official proceedings of the planning hearing officer's hearing are recorded as part of the public record. Notification of this hearing was accomplished by the use of public notices, which were mailed to property owners and occupants located within 500 feet of the subject property, physically posted on the site in question, and placed in the local newspaper. The hearing will proceed as follows. I'll read the description of the application. The case planner will then make a brief overview of the case, give an analysis, and make a recommendation. The applicant will then be asked to come forward stating both name and address, and will be asked to present the case within a 15-minute time limit. Others in support of or opposition to the application and interested parties will then be asked to come forward to speak, again, clearly stating both name and address within a 3-minute time limit. Lastly, if the applicant chooses, they will be given an opportunity to make closing comments in response to any testimonies given by preceding speakers within a 5-minute time limit. The hearing will be closed and the case either taken under submission or a decision may be made. The case we have scheduled today is a variance application, case number PVAR 1903165, located at 199 North Louise Street. The application is to allow the installation of 2 wall signs on a new hotel facing Louise Street in the DSP Downtown Arts and Entertainment District. And this time I would like a presentation, please, from our case planner, Ms. Toledo.
Sure, thank you, Mr. Collin. This project, as you stated, is a variance request to allow the installation of 2 wall signs on a new hotel facing Louise Street, where only 1 wall sign is permitted on each wall, which directly faces the street. Staff is recommending approval of the variance with conditions, which are included in the draft decision, or in this case, the staff report, and draft findings that were included. The property is zoned DSP, Downtown Art and Entertainment District. Currently, the site is under construction with the hotel's underground parking structure and podium. The subject site is located on the southwest corner of Wilson Avenue and Louise Street, which is immediately north and east of the former 5-Star Theater. And the First Baptist Church is located directly across the street to the north along Wilson Avenue. And then we have the Glendale YMCA, which is a historic building located across the street to the east. The analysis of this project involves the 30,000 square foot site, which again is currently under construction with a new 6-story hotel with 147 guest rooms. The main entry to the hotel and the driveway are both accessed from Louise Street. So the driveway, which will be leading to the guest drop-off area and on-grade parking and a ramp to a 2-level subterranean parking garage, is accessible from Louise, as well as the main entrance to the building. The variance request, again, involves introducing these 2 wall signs on the ground floor of the building facing Louise Street. So that would be along the east side of the building, where the zoning code only allows 1 accessory wall sign on each wall which directly faces the street. The total area of a wall sign shall not exceed 1 square foot per foot of length of frontage for each ground floor occupancy, which directly faces a street. In this case, the frontage along Louise Street is 195 feet, and therefore a 1 wall sign of 195 square feet would be permitted along that frontage. However, the applicant is proposing 2 wall signs facing Louise Street. 1 wall sign along the northeast corner of the hotel's main entrance and another wall sign above the hotel's driveway entrance. And that can clearly be depicted on the site plan It's referenced as letter A on both the closest to the intersection and then the location further south along the Louise Street facade. And then the elevations also depict the location of the two wall signs. Would you like me to go a little deeper into the findings as to why staff is recommending approval? Or would you like me to conclude my presentation at this time?
All right, we'll let the applicant
Okay.
go through the
There
findings,
were,
please.
one thing I'd like to highlight is there were comments received from GW, from Public Works, excuse me. The applicant has addressed those comments. They submitted revised plans, and those revised plans are included in the file as well as pinned on the board.
And those are conditions specific to the storage of tractors and
Yes,
stuff
and
like that?
exactly.
Okay, I saw that in the file. Okay, question for you. Have we received any input from by email or phone call or letter regarding this project?
No, I have not.
Okay, thank you. At this time, I'm going to go ahead and open up the public hearing. I have one speaker card, Mr. Anthony Rozek. Please come forward again. Remember to state your name and address for the record, please.
Good morning. My name's Anthony Rozek with Artie Olson Development, the applicant, 520 Newport Center, Newport Beach, California.
And the zip code on that, I'm sorry? The zip code for your office?
92660.
Okay, thank you.
Thank you.
Go ahead.
Appreciate the time to present our proposed signage package. And as you've heard from Milka, by the way, she's done an excellent job in working with us and making this a collaborative effort to first meet the signage ordinance and to help us with our variance request. And our variance request is fundamental. We're requesting 2 signs on the Louise frontage. This project is a single-tenant hotel facility. The existing condition of the land was 5 parcels. So we purchased, actually ground lease, excuse me, this property with its existing 5 parcel condition. So by right, as an example, if we would develop 5 separate projects, one on each parcel, we would be allowed 1 sign for each one of those parcels. So by right, we would be allowed 4 signs or 4 parcel frontages on Louise, and there are 2 parcel frontages along Wilson, so 5 total parcels. We've conducted a lot tie to develop this as one, but bringing this up for comparative purposes, that if by right this was developed into 4 frontages along Louise, the city would see 4 signs that could be implemented on this specific location. In addition, we have a hotel that is considered or categorized as a single tenant hotel. Each parcel of the 4 parcels had the potential of being developed with multi-tenants, thus having multiple signs. We're only proposing 2 signs rather than 4, and each sign is approximately 34 square feet times 2, which is only 41% of the maximum allowable on Louise. So 195 square feet is our maximum allowable. Even with our request for 2 signs, we are clearly well below the maximum allowable signage area that we could potentially propose and install on Louise. And if we take all of our signs on the 3 sides of our proposed hotel, cumulatively, they add up to only 37% of the total maximum potential that we could install on the hotel. So we believe that with the existing by right condition for comparative purposes and the fact that we're proposing only 37% of total allowable signage area, that this is a reasonable and fair request for the second sign on Louise.
Okay. Could you please go through the 4 findings?
Sure. Okay, so the first question, how will the strict application of the provisions of the ordinance result in practical difficulties or unnecessary hardships related to the property inconsistent with the general purposes and intent of the ordinance? So the practical difficulties, I believe, are related to the existing parcel being, the existing property being 4 parcels, 4 frontages, which would allow 4 signs to be installed. We are developing this as a lot tie, consolidating those parcels, and thus resulting in, as a technicality, 1 frontage. So we're allowed by code 1 sign per frontage. With our lot tie, technically it would be only 1 sign, thus the request for the variance. And again, reinforcing the fact that we are only proposing 89 square feet as opposed to the maximum allowable 195 square feet. The second question, what exceptional circumstances or conditions apply to the property involved or to the intended use or development of the property that do not apply generally to other property in the same zone or neighborhood? We are in the downtown specific plan, and again, consistent with the specific plan and the general plan, by right, each tenant should be allowed to have identity signage. And coming back to the same principle of our existing lot or property being 5 parcels, thus having the potential to implement 5 different signs if we proceeded down that path. However, we're proposing 1 facility, 1 tenant, and still proposing a signage cumulative area that is 37% in total, less than our maximum potential by the code. Why will granting of the variance not be detrimental to the public welfare? Police, traffic, public works, fire have no objections to our proposed signage package. In addition, our signs are being installed at a minimum height of 18 feet, which is clearly above and beyond any Department of Transportation standards of 14 feet in clearance. Also, in regards to illumination, once again, we are proposing only 35% of the maximum allowable. Thus, we don't believe that there would be any public nuisance issues with the illumination of the signs. The final question: why will granting of the variance be in keeping with the objectives of the ordinance? Similar fundamental regarding the maximum allowable square footage of our signs on this property. We're only requesting 35% of that maximum allowable. And we're only requesting one additional sign on Louise, because as a technicality by code, one single frontage is allowed one sign. However, the existing conditions of our property being 4 parcels, if developed into 4 tenants or 4 separate buildings, we would be allowed 4 signs. So I believe that we are in keeping with the ordinance simply because of our total area being substantially less than the ordinance would allow.
Okay, I do have a question for you. If you were hypothetically to take away the wall sign that's over the driveway, what would that do to the project? Or, for example, the other one at the corner?
Yes, it could potentially cause confusion for vehicles approaching the project. The functional reason for the 2 signs along Louise is that the sign along the southern portion of Louise is above our vehicular entrance. So all cars that are approaching and entering our site would be directed towards that sign, and especially traffic driving north on Louise. That would be their first and immediate identity marker that they would see. If that sign was not there, then visually they would not know that that is the Residence Inn by Marriott Hotel. So it helps to identify traffic approaching the project site from the south heading north along Louise. The sign that is on the north portion of Louise does the opposite. As traffic is approaching, driving westbound on Wilson, that is the primary sign that they will see that will make them confirm that this is the Marriott by Residence Inn project site, and thus turning left off of Wilson onto Louise, and then proceeding to the other sign that has the driveway. The sign at the north also has a direct relationship with the main pedestrian entrance. The door, the portico that you see to the left of that sign at the north is our pedestrian entrance. So those who walk about the downtown district, they would enter our hotel through that door. Those that
Is that
drive,
by sign D?
that is
Or
by
the
the letter
corner?
C next to the address.
Got it.
Yes. So each sign relates directly to the guest's first impression, their first visual of the property from a particular direction on arrival. And each also relates strongly to an entrance, whether it's pedestrian or vehicular. And each are different. There's a different location, different
Right,
entrances.
I see that. Okay, thank you very much.
Thank you.
Is there anybody else in the audience that would like to speak? We got one. I'll take that. Thank you. Violet?
Yes. Hi, good morning. My name is Violet Coker, Public Affairs Representative for the Carpenters Contractors Cooperation Committee, or the Quad C. Our address is 533 South Fremont Avenue, Suite 510 in Los Angeles, California, 90071. We are here today to share information regarding the applicant. We support good-paying construction jobs, and we specifically investigate project sites for instances of wage theft and other worker exploitation illegal practices. So while this does not pertain specifically to the signage, we want the city to know, as you consider granting a variance to the applicant, that they have a pattern of using subcontractors that don't comply with the law. A few of those subcontractors I have spoken previously before, different departments and different meetings in Glendale regarding Ultimate Construction, Fullerton Pacific, RDV Construction, and Champion Construction. All of these companies have been employed by R.D. Olson, and they have tens of millions of dollars in either citations or lawsuits brought by the Labor Commissioner in regards to wage theft. So we just wanted to share this information and do our due diligence. Thank you.
Thank you. I'm sorry, Mr. Rosick, can you please come back?
Sure.
A question for you. Do you understand and agree to the conditions of approval as recommended by staff?
Yes.
Okay, thank you very much.
Yeah.
Based on the findings recommended by staff, the facts and information presented at the hearing relevant to the signs and the variance, and the input we've received from the other departments, I am going to approve the subject variance case, as I said, subject to the conditions and findings spelled out within the staff report. After the hearing, the decision will be prepared in writing and will be the form of a letter sent to the applicant and to all persons who responded to the public notice, either by speaking at this hearing or by submitting written responses and have provided their name and mailing address. The date of the decision will be the date appearing on the letter. As it relates to appeals under the appeal provision, Title 30, Chapter 30.62 of the Glendale Municipal Code, the decision may be appealed to the Planning Commission within 15 days of the date of the decision. Anyone wishing to appeal may obtain forms and brochures on the procedures from the Building and Safety section in the Permit Services Center, which is located in the same floor of this building. The hearing is now officially closed. I'd like to thank everybody for coming. It is 9:55 on May 1st. Thank you all.
Thank you.